social media, I hate that we can be banned, which is not fair.
Yes, I've seen that happen to you a couple times.
Yes, and it's BS. But now I'm playing the game, and so I basically have to suck YouTube and like make it like it's basically Nickelodeon, Nick Jr. Now. You have to like, keep it squeaky clean. Facebook can get a little bit more edgy. Instagram, I'm fighting to get my monetization back, but you can be pretty edgy there. TikTok is actually letting up.
Really?
A little bit. And then really it's Patreon where you can only be honest, or OnlyFans or whatever you want to, some paywall. Where
you have to hide behind a paywall.
Yes. But, and that's the game and I understand it. So the social media, though, is when it's not suppressed. And I mean that in the littlest ways of like certain keywords taking you out of the algorithm or people not sharing something for a certain reason. It will affect us. But what's crazy is, and I talked about this last night, I feel like we're all urologists now.
How so? Interesting.
Well, I mean, am I old or like, I was talking about this, like, how like, I love to have a good time. I mean, you're talking to a guy that went to Playboy Mansion like 10 times. I went to Maxim parties. Life was good. But I feel like sex is everywhere on Instagram.
It's a lot.
And I'm like, low-key turned off. It's like I was raised with like Elizabeth Taylor. You know what I mean? Like Elizabeth Taylor, like she was a freak. You have to do your, you can read about her, but she was a lady.
Yeah, she was.
And that's how it was later. Like my generation is like, I hate to say like, oh, like I like a little mystery. And tell me if I'm crazy. I feel like a new generation of younger women are talking how they think guys talk, but guys don't really talk like that. Like dudes that you would chill with aren't like that. We're not like, yo, it's you know what I mean? Like, but girls are, and I'm like, yo, like that's like, it's almost too much.
Yes.
But I don't feel like there are. If you ever meet like a big mouth woman, like an annoyingly big mouth woman. This is gonna sound bad. But
no,
do you know what I'm saying? Overcompensating, and they're usually not the best in the bed department.
Interesting.
But a quiet, demure woman could be an insane.
That's interesting.
It's not always the case. I'm just saying in terms of percentages. But I do feel this younger generation actually walks their walk. And they're talking about it, which is a little crazy. Yeah, some of them I could tell.
Is it like...
And I'm like just weirded out. And I'm like, am I old? Or I'm just like, I like a little mystery.
No, I don't think you're old. I think a little mystery is something that's...
Dr. Drew said that to me. One of the greatest lines that stuck in my head forever. You want to know what he said?
Yeah.
More mystery, less history.
Whoa. What does that mean?
Well, in relationship...
Less history, how so?
In relationship, it means like they don't need to know all your past. Keep the mystery there. So know a lot of stuff, but there's certain things that just trigger your partner, possibly. So it's just like, hey, you don't need to know everybody I slept with, or
yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about all that.
Yes, exactly. And just like, start less history. And it was a really good. But I also think we can use that in life, like social media. Everyone's talking about their hookups, and I mean, I'm not even following. Like, you click one story or one, like, pretty girl, and it's like a parade of butts.
A parade of butts.
A parade of butts. And so you start hearing these stories on pods, and you're like, yo, that's a little too much history.
Yeah, and it feels like there's a lot of oversharing happening now. And
oversharing. Perfect.
It's a result because of the way we're connecting now. We're sharing things.
Mm-hmm.
We're posting things, and that's the new way of sharing, and it feels somewhat safe. It's kind of like the equivalent of how we shop more now because Amazon made it easy.
Yes.
We're sharing more now because social media made it easy. So it doesn't feel like there's anything at stake. It doesn't feel like there's a real threat behind that. Girls aren't considering the threat of oversharing their bodies and their images and all of that. They don't really consider the ramification of that down the road.
Which, yeah, like you see these things like people are going like, what's your body count? Have you heard that term?
What does that mean? Like,
wow,
how many people killed?
I'm older,
body
but younger.
Count? I know, because I really try to stay away from
How old am I in
Everything.
your eyes? In my essence?
40?
No.
You feel 40-ish to me.
Really?
Yeah. Why? How old are you?
I felt like 15.
15? Oh, so 40's bad.
No, I feel like my essence is like I stopped at 15.
Your essence is youthful.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're saying 40 on the shell.
I mean, like you appear like
40.
Yeah, but not like you're acting like you're 40. You have a youthful energy to you for sure.
Thank you.
But I say 40 because it's a mature.
It's a mature. Okay.
The way I know you.
I could stick. By the way, I could stop at 40. Like if I could stop aging right there.
I agree.
It's a good age for me.
But how could you say that without having the spectrum of some sort of comparison, like 50, 60, 70, 80? Because at 80, you might be like, I'll stay at 80.
Yes.
You know what I mean? At 40 does feel good, I guess.
Probably the wisdom of 80 is good, but I like the 40 body. And
Yeah.
then, although I'm pretty energetic now.
How old are you?
Well, there's like the number 50. And then you can go past that.
I'm going to start saying that forever now.
Yeah.
Well, there's the number 40.
Yes. And then
that's all we're going to say.
Exactly.
So why don't you just keep moving?
But, you know, I'm not an elder statesman yet on the circuit, but I'm getting there. But, you know, my generation is Harlan and, you know.
Harlan Williams?
And different of that. I
love Harlan.
Of course.
He's so
fucking
funny. He's
legend.
the most fun to watch.
He's beautiful.
He really is.
So I'm in that age range.
I'm going to adjust you. No, but you adjusted as well.
Hold on, we have to go
Jesus.
back to our talk.
I almost just knocked over Jennifer Love Hewitt. Sorry, J-Lo.
Shout out J-Lo.
The original J-Lo.
The original J-Lo.
Let's be real.
For real. I'm sitting up straight.
What are you waiting for?
So, that's good. That's a
Thank
deep
you.
cut.
Thank you.
So we're talking about the over-sexuality.
Mm-hmm. It's real. But do you think every generation sort of has experienced that? And
So
also,
let me go back to body count.
okay.
So body count is how many people you slept with.
Oh, I don't. I mean, that's not even a conversation. You're not asking, obviously.
I'm not asking.
But that's what it means. Unnecessary conversation. Unnecessary.
Yeah.
I also don't do the thing where I need to be friends with everybody that is in my past. I think that's kind of narcissistic. Maybe it's judgy, but
Oh, because a lot of people don't like to be friends. I think it is good to be friendly.
I think sometimes, but we don't need to be friends. Like, we don't need to like keep that many tabs.
Yes.
You got to keep tethers to all the people you were intimate with. I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah.
For myself or anyone else. It's not like I don't want the person I'm with to have that. I don't do that myself.
Yes, and that brings me to something I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
I don't want to go off of the topic, but I'll go back to the other part of it. So the last time I saw you, I was at your show.
At Jam in the Van. I'm just going in my fanny pack.
Why?
I'm going to put some stuff on my lips while you talk. Is that bothering you?
No.
Okay, I'm going to be real basic bitch. This is real plastic.
This girl was in a coordinated outfit.
And
Anyway.
so
Yeah.
I was shopping for cream cheese.
So we're at Jam in the Van. It was a great show. Had a couple Karens there.
Yes.
Got some good clips. And you told me, and like I could have talked to you for about 2 hours that night.
Yeah, we were in the parking lot.
Yeah, it was me and you
Temple.
and Annie were having a good chop up session, and then you and I were in the parking lot chopping it up. You know, you're very deep, you're very ethereal, very comforting.
Thank you.
And you said that we got in a conversation somehow, and you were talking about, this is in the green room, how you, is this still happening? You will not have, you're celibate. Is this correct?
Somewhat.
Ah, shit! The egg done got cracked. Like 2 green rooms ago, you're like,
I was very celibate.
I'm celibate. I'm going to do the whole year. And I will, this is what she said to me, I will never have casual sex again.
That's true.
And I was like, wow.
That part is 100%
I'm like, will you
true.
come on my pod? She's like, I have a whole theory about it.
But,
2 months later.
I had been celibate before that for a while.
Go ahead.
I had been celibate before
How
that
long?
for a while. I'd have to do some math in my
A
head.
girl's got to eat.
A good amount of time. And I don't, I had done it before. I find real value.
You did took a year off, right?
Almost 2.
You shut it down. Mm-hmm. So what is that? What happened? Talk to me.
I can't really divulge too much about it right now. Only because My viewpoint on
Did it change?
a little bit.
You were adamant in that green
I
room.
was very adamant in that moment, and
She was like, I'm celibate.
yes, I was very, very adamant about it in that point in my life, and it served its purpose, and it's something that I think that people should attempt. I think we.
By the way, that sounds weird. I was like, she told me she was celibate in the green room. That could sound shady. There was a lot of us in the green room.
Well, I don't think I proclaimed it because I'm,
No, we were talking about like just love and relationships. And
Yeah.
you were like, I'm celibate for like, and you said I'm going to do a year, but you said you did it before, and I thought it was fascinating.
It was an interesting experience, and I think it gives you time to do other stuff.
So wait, just tell me why did you do it the first time? Unless you don't want to talk about it.
Well, I think that it's important to know all aspects of yourself in all different scenarios. And there's only so many things you can do once, and you can't go back. And I wanted to reconnect with me as me without anybody else contaminating my spirit or energy.
That's very deep, but makes a lot of sense.
People don't consider the contamination of another human being and how that can be, I'll say this word again, detrimental to your health.
Do you feel when you hook up?
I don't hook up. But continue.
Do you feel when you hook up? When you hooked up? Hooked? Did you ever hook up? You've never hooked up?
No comment.
Your whole life? You're 40 years old. You never hooked up?
No comment.
When the sudden did you join the nunnery? You're like, this bitch in the frozen aisle, 4 fucking dogs.
Well, because I'm
my
talking shit about
period's
her.
coming.
I didn't say it like that. Aunt Flo. We talked about Flo.
Aunt Flo, I know. I love how sweet you are.
It was Flo.
So hold on.
because,
okay.
because
Let me ask you this. Forget that.
yeah.
When you have relations with someone, by the way, it's funny because you're being a little bit more reserved in this talk, and I love that because sometimes you'll get crazy on the gram. You'll talk on your
Yeah.
pods a little sexual, so you're not.
Yeah.
And it's all good. So wait, let's go back. When you have relations with a man, if you're straight, which I believe you are, but
I am straight.
Okay.
I'm a heterosexual.
Okay. Which there's no labels. So and when that happens, do you feel that energy because of intimacy can come onto you? Because I believe that now.
This is a phrase that I hate to say because
Like if you have sex with somebody who has bad vibes, you can get those bad vibes in you. That's what I
right, and that's
believe.
why it's important to like
So you believe that?
be very, very cautious and particular and selective and say no and be fine with being particular. I don't like the word picky. Picky has a negative connotation. I'm not picky. I'm particular. And I also know about myself that I am very, very susceptible to people's energies
Yes.
in any fashion, i.e. the grocery store, the bitch with the dogs at the grocery store, family members, people I'm intimate with. I am a vacuum of other people's energy. And I think I've been that way my whole life. I do think it's my essence is to be that, but it also ties into the thing that like your greatest contribution can be your biggest liability and your greatest asset can be your biggest liability. So I think my greatest asset is the ability to feel other people's energy and to anticipate what people need because I am a natural giver and an empath. But the downside of that is it can really deteriorate your own energy.
Mm-hmm.
We're all batteries, so you have to be careful who's plugging into you and who you're plugging into because there is an exchange of energy, and you have to have tools and ways, i.e. celibacy, to recharge yourself and to learn how to step out into the world and be more selective for yourself and to have standards. So on the other side of this, I choose to not exploit what I'm venturing on right now. Does that make sense?
100%. That great line is amazing line is we're all batteries.
We are, don't you think?
100%. I always call it shine stealers.
Can you explain? I don't
Well,
know
like
what that
for a
is.
glowing star, people
yeah.
try to steal your shine. That's what this whole world is now, especially in our business.
It is.
Especially in comedy. Well,
No, for real.
I call them clout shows.
Oof.
It's like, just do a show with people that, you know, you love, but like there's a lot of clout. Like, oh, if I'm on this, you know what I'm saying? And it's what the whole social media is right now is clout. Like, oh, this person does this, and my post, they're, you know, shared, and everyone's taking a picture with somebody to up their status, as opposed to like just like someone because they're good or they're nice. I get the game, but if it's not obvious, it doesn't bother me. But when it's desperately obvious, I get very sick. And so what you're saying is we're all batteries, and people always try to drain us.
Yes. And to that point, what you're saying, I think if you're true in your conviction, you're okay saying no, and you're like just unwavering with your authenticity, and you have talent, you don't need to play any fucking game.
100%.
I don't believe in playing a game.
I agree with you.
And I don't think you don't put that vibe out either.
No.
You're a little on the fringe. Don't you think? Am I wrong?
That's I like that you look. That's a compliment, but could be taken the wrong way.
No,
but
I
agree with you. What do you mean by that? But I agree with you. Someone else told me something recently similar like that. We were talking about different groups, and he was like, well, you're on kind of your own island.
Yes. You don't seem to conform a lot. From what I know about you, I know, I only know you from in a certain capacity. And my first impression is that you're not a huge conformist, obviously. This isn't anything. I'm not saying anything groundbreaking.
Yes.
I mean, your fans are probably like, duh. That's why we come back to this podcast. We wonder if he's going to be there next week.
Commitment is hard.
Yeah. If you're being blackballed, it's because you've tapped into a truth.
Yes. So
that's what I believe.
I agree, and I want to answer that first point, but the second point, what you just said is that's why all the people, I can't believe all these people that are such lemmings, because they're like, well, if you are being suppressed in what you say, that means you're hitting a nerve. It's common knowledge. Why people get offended at jokes? There are jokes that just aren't funny.
Sure.
And they just stink. But there are other jokes, if people actually physically leave, it hit a nerve.
Yeah.
So just the same as the opposite of when they really laugh, you hit a nerve. So if we are being suppressed, there's a reason. That's what's crazy. That people, it's just common sense. Mm-hmm. So, but what you just said about me being on the fringe, I like that.
Yeah.
It's
like, I mean it as a compliment.
Yeah, no, like, because I am, like, I'm kind of on my own thing. And I mean, there's other people like that, but I really don't subscribe to a group. I know a lot of people, I'm close to a few people, but I try to do every type of show. And my beliefs are my beliefs. I have to tell you, like, I did a show like last week, and it was pretty liberal. And I'm not even considered myself anything, but I consider myself in the middle, but probably some people would say, oh, you're to the right or whatever. And we were all chilling, laughing, and it was beautiful. And there's a guy that's a hilarious comment. I'm saying Ben Glebe is probably considered very left. Okay?
I'd say so.
And Ben is hilarious. I will watch him and die laughing, and he watched me. And I was doing like all vaccine jokes, and he was dying laughing. But he'll still comment on my Instagram and come at me.
Oh yeah, he likes to come at.
But and I love the guy. Like, and that's what me and his relationship should be for the world.
Yeah, the because debating.
We still hang out. We still have a lot of the same interests. You know what I mean? I don't see him that much, but like I could sit with the guy all day in a room and laugh and joke.
He is very open with his opinions and...
Yeah, but he would be considered more Berkeley, and I'm considered more Irvine.
There should be more people like that in everyone's life.
Yes, and the problem is that people don't do that. They can't separate whatever this shit is.
If you don't have people in your life that challenge you, then you'll never grow or evolve, and maybe that's what you want.
Yes, but also the joke, I think that we're both subscribed to the humor, and the humor is, Sarah Silverman always said that brilliant quote. She said, the joke's always first.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yep.
And that's what I think we both subscribe to. Like, if it's funny, and with that comes the respect of like, yo, this is a like-minded individual.
Yes.
That's why it's like, that's what I do. I don't know you like really at all.
Yeah, we don't know each other at all. That's why I was inquisitive when I first got here.
And isn't it fascinating how comfortable we are?
It is very interesting.
Well, I think because we're connected on two levels. I think because you're in the cult of jokes. Like
yes, I'm in a joke cult.
And then the second thing is that I don't know if I am, but I believe I am, is you're an empath.
Yes.
And I hate to say that because people are like, it sounds all like crunchy, but I really do believe it. Like I'm ruined with different feelings. Like that's why it's hard for me if I go to like the haha, and I love the haha, but this is an example. It's like, did I have a weird moment with this guy? Mm-hmm. Did I make them feel good? And Kyle, who works with me a lot and opens up for me, he's like, he sent me this whole thing and it was beautiful. And he said, oh, you have emotional OCD.
Interesting.
And it's a whole thing. And because I don't worry about stuff, like I like organization, but it's okay. It doesn't ruin me if it's out. But he's like, you always have to have your stuff cleaned up. So it's like that interaction, that's done. And when I go to a club, I have 17 people coming up to me, from shaking hands to fans taking pictures to other comics to weird, like, oh, did I talk to her long enough? Was that rude? Because then people say, oh, I saw him, he was rude, or, I wasn't, So it's like I'm got PTSD from my existence from the last 50 years, half of it fame and half of it not. And so I always want to make sure people, like, it's a done interaction.
Interesting.
And that's a real thing.
Yeah.
And I believe that, I don't know if you obsess so much.
Oh, yeah, I'm obsessive.
You do, but you're also, I don't think there's anything I could say to you that would make you run.
No. There's not much you could say to me that could really shake.
And make you would always make me feel comfortable. Like you wouldn't walk away awkwardly. That's what I like about you.
I like to stay in the pocket and dismantle whatever is the conflict.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It won't not make me feel. I'm not afraid to feel what conflict can evoke.
Exactly. It's part of life.
I want to learn from it. And,
yes.
And things do hurt. I feel a lot, and I am aware of points where I get triggered and where I need to evolve. And so if something happens that triggers something in me that needs to grow still, these like little, knots in your stomach that you're holding on to, these things and ideas and behaviors that are tethered to your past that you don't want to let go of because that requires you to let go and grow. I still have those. And so when those are triggered, I feel it and I will cry and I'll hurt and it'll cause anguish. But a little bit of it has been let go of because I allowed myself to funnel those emotions and those energies. That's all emotions are. They're just energies, or energies tethered to the past.
Mm-hmm.
And so when someone says or does something to invigorate that, it's an opportunity to let it go. So I rather sit in the pocket of an uncomfortable situation and ask why and be curious as opposed to furious. Curious, not furious. So I try and stay curious about my own growth and triggers.